Today, we're going to talk about Nalyssa Smith. She's a really interesting player on this team. She's the power forward, so she does mean a lot for this team on defense and on offense. In this video, it's just like a bunch of reasons why the Indiana Fever need to get rid of her. We're just going to break down the first quarter of the Indiana Fever Dallas Wings game, and we're just going to follow Nalyssa Smith. And I'm going to break down just her play. I think there's a whole lot of reasons why they should get rid of her. And I'm not here trying to bash her. She's a good player. She plays a role. But with this team, I just don't think she's really helpful. I think she's more harmful than helpful. So here's my assessment on Nalyssa Smith, and we'll go ahead and break down the film once I finish. Look, Nalyssa Smith is only good in a fast-paced offense. In a slow-paced offense, she cannot shoot the ball. She has no role besides sitting on the three-point line, and then her defender literally does not guard her. She just clogged at the paint. So really, she doesn't help their offensive schemes when they're playing slow. When Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston are doing a pick and roll in a set offense, Aaliyah Boston goes to the paint and an extra defender is down there guarding Aaliyah Boston. Okay, so you might say, okay, why not put Nalyssa Smith down in the paint? Why does Christy Sides have her sitting on the three-point line? Well, when she's down in the paint, it's not any better. It's just an extra body because they're not going to give her the ball. When she's in the paint, she's not about to score because why would you give the ball to Nalyssa Smith over giving it to Aaliyah Boston? Her place on the team is taken by Aaliyah Boston when they're in a set offense. When they're playing fast, she's at her best. But guess what? Here's the thing, man. They're not going to play fast unless they get stops. She doesn't help them get any stops. She's just pretty much useless on the team unless they're playing fast. But then she is one of the main reasons why they don't play fast. It's really a messy situation. Now check out this first play. They give the ball to Nalyssa Smith down on that post, and she makes a pass to Kelsey Mitchell. That's a good cut. But notice how when Nalyssa Smith comes out to the three-point line, her defender stays in the paint. That's just clogging up the paint furthermore. There's nothing you can really do in the paint when there's 4, 5, 6, 7 defenders down there. And Nalyssa Smith isn't helping. She's a liability right here because her defender is clogging up the paint. So whatever you're trying to do in the paint is getting harder because of Nalyssa Smith. She can't shoot. And so what she ends up doing is taking it into the paint, making it harder on herself, and she ends up double dribbling. What the defense is essentially doing is making a gamble. They're going to dare Nalyssa Smith to shoot, and they're going to say, you know what, we're going to buffer up our defensive intensity in other places, and we're just going to let you shoot. If you make it, we lose. But if you don't shoot or you miss, then we win. And they're basically winning this gamble. They're always going to win it because she's never going to hit shots. She's not a shooter. Now check out this next play. Nalyssa Smith's defender just creeps down into the paint to guard Aaliyah Boston. She makes a shot anyway, but still, Nalyssa Smith's defender is literally just not even guarding her, not worried about her, and she can add defensive pressure in other places. And there's nothing you can do about it because Nalyssa Smith is only good down in that low post, and she's not helping if she goes down there. Say Nalyssa Smith brings herself down there. At that point, that's just an extra body in the paint, and that's just going to make the shot even harder for Aaliyah Boston. There's nothing for Nalyssa Smith to do on this play besides sit out on the three-point line, but she can't make threes. And so her defender is going to go down into the paint to add pressure anyway. This is just bad rotation. This is bad players on the court. They're not complementing each other in the right way. Nalyssa Smith cannot shoot the basketball, and she's forced to be a spacer. Now check out this next play. The defense makes a terrible move by doubling Caitlin Clark, and this would lead to a wide open layup for Aaliyah Boston. But look, because Nalyssa Smith is on the court, her defender will just leave her to go guard Aaliyah. That leads to a missed layup. This would not have happened if you had somebody who could actually shoot. If you had someone who could actually shoot, then if that defender left the shooter to go guard Aaliyah Boston on that wide open layup, then Aaliyah could just find the wide open shooter and they would make the shot. That would work. But Aaliyah Boston's not going to pass it out to Nalyssa Smith when the help comes because Nalyssa can't shoot. So it's just a bad look. It's not helping. You're being harmed by having Nalyssa Smith on the court. If Katie Lou Samuelson was in Nalyssa Smith's plays, not that Katie Lou's the best three-point shooter, but if you had someone who could hit threes at a high rate, then if that defender were to help off of Nalyssa Smith, then it would give Aaliyah Boston more incentive to pass it out to Nalyssa Smith. But if you pass it out to Nalyssa Smith, she can't shoot, and it's just bad, man. It's really just bad. Now check out this next play to mix it up because you're going to see a whole lot more plays like the ones I just showed you. Look, Nalyssa Smith is a terrible defender. Look at this. She has no defensive intensity. She's literally a cone. She's a cone. I'm not trying to pick on her, but she's literally not a good defender. She doesn't do anything good. Off the switch there, she could have stepped up to add extra pressure on Enrique, or maybe she should have stuck to her man a little bit more. She literally just stands still in the same place. She's not doing anything on defense. She's just a bad defender. She's just really a bad defender. Now check out this next play. Once again, Kelsey Mitchell's trying to drive into the paint, and the defender that's supposed to be guarding Nalyssa Smith literally just goes to guard Kelsey Mitchell. She can't shoot. They need another player on the court besides Nalyssa Smith. She's only good for running in a fast-paced offense in transition, or if, Aaliyah Boston's not in the game and they're just going to go to her down on the low post, but they're not going to prioritize her. They're even going to give the ball to Demiris Dantes on the low post before they give it to Nalyssa Smith. She's too small. She's not a big man, but she revolves around the rim like a big man. I don't get her being on the court. I really don't. She doesn't really fit, in my opinion. And she's supposed to be a spacer. She's being reduced to a spacer because they're going to prioritize Aaliyah Boston or they're going to prioritize Demiris Dantes, but she can't shoot. So her defender's just going to clog up the paint and make these layups harder. Check out this next play. Once again, Nalyssa Smith gives no intensity on defense. Literally off this pick, she should have stepped up and guarded Arike, and then maybe Caitlin Clark guards the roller and they have some switch at the end. No, she literally just stands still. Like, I get it. Maybe she shouldn't have picked up. Maybe there's nothing for her to do. Maybe this is just bad defense by Caitlin Clark. But I know one thing. On defense, you don't just stand still. You're literally not contributing to anything, and you're part of the pick and roll action. You should be contributing in some way because you're part of the pick and roll action. Like, you're not doing anything on defense. You're literally a cone. She's a cone. She gives no effort on defense, and since she's not giving effort, they're not getting stops, and when they're not getting stops, it results in a slow offense, a set offense, and then she's useless there. So she's useless on defense, and then she ends up being useless on offense too. Why is she on the court? Now, check out this next play. Look, Nalyssa Smith has nowhere to go on offense. She's really just useless out there. She's not really fulfilling any role. But what I want you to look at is the fact that if she was not in the paint, Kelsey Mitchell could have cut back door here. She could have cut back door and had an easy layup. Instead, she comes around and shoots this contested three-point shot. And that's not open to her because Nalyssa Smith is clogging up the paint. And even if Nalyssa Smith wasn't in the paint and she was out on the three-point line like we've seen so many times, if that was the case for Nalyssa Smith, her defender would probably be tempted to help onto Kelsey Mitchell if she would have cut anyway. And it would have been the same thing. Like, she doesn't have a role here. Unless they're giving her the ball down in that low post and telling her to go one-on-one, which is there's like a 40% chance of her making that one-on-one shot. Like, she doesn't really benefit you in any way. I don't know why she's on the court. Chrissy Sides plays her for the entire first quarter, for the record. She plays her for the entire first quarter. I just want to let you know that. Now, check out this next play, man. Nalyssa Smith is literally just useless on defense. She's not doing anything. She's just kind of in the way, man. She's at the end of this play, when the offensive player shoots the basketball, Nalyssa Smith is guarding no one. She's literally useless on the defensive side of the basketball. She's a cone. She doesn't help their defense at all. She doesn't improve their defense. She's not good. She's a power forward, but she does not play that role very well. I'm not a defensive specialist. I really could not tell you what she should be doing on defense here. I'm sure Alfred Coaching, he can make a video about it and tell you all about it. I don't freaking know, but I just know she ain't doing nothing good. Now, check out this next play. Once again, Nalyssa Smith is sitting on the three-point line. She's forced to be a spacer. And look, her defender is just going to clog up the paint. She's being a spacer. The rotations from Chrissy Sides are terrible here. I don't know what's going on, but she's on the court to be a spacer, and it is not helping this team. It is harming them. Caitlin Clark can't cut to the paint. Aaliyah Boston can't cut to the paint. It results in this crazy three-point shot from Caitlin Clark that she can hit, but it's not the desirable shot. Caitlin Clark could usually cut. She could probably get by her defender here and go straight to the paint, but she doesn't because there's extra clog in the paint. Like, if you're going to run an offense where you have everybody spacing the floor, then you actually have to have players on the court who can hit three-point shots. Lexi Hull cannot hit three-point shots at a high rate. Nalyssa Smith cannot hit three-point shots at a high rate. Aaliyah Boston cannot hit three-point shots at a high rate. Timmy Fag-Benley is not going to hit three-point shots at a high rate. You don't have three-point shooters on the team, but your offense revolves around spacing the floor. But none of your spacers can shoot. This is why the offense is so stagnant. I really don't like this. Now, check out this next play so I can refresh your mind on how good of a player Nalyssa Smith can be in transition. Look, when she's running the floor in transition, Caitlin Clark is pushing the pace. She knows exactly where to go. She knows exactly where to go, and she's going to contribute. She is going to capitalize on the opportunities in transition. This is where she contributes. This is where she makes herself useful. In transition, she's the player that knows where to go when Caitlin Clark has the ball. Caitlin Clark is going to find her. But they're not usually running in transition, and half of the reason is because of Nalyssa. Half of the reason is because Nalyssa Smith is a bad defender. And it's not just Nalyssa. She's like 30% of their bad defense. They have bad defenders around the board. They have bad defense, so they're not getting stopped, so they're not pushing the pace. She's only good when they're pushing the pace, but they're usually not here, and she's not helping that. Now check out this next play. Once again, Nalyssa Smith is able to contribute in a fast-paced offense. She knows where to go. The defense is in a wacky position when they're forced to play transition defense, and she knows how to capitalize on these opportunities. But look, man, this is not the whole game. This is only a part of the game. If you watch the highlights all the time, you'll see these stretches where Caitlin Clark gets like 5 assists to Nalyssa Smith in like 3 minutes. That's literally how these games go. But, bro, what about the other 37 minutes of the game? What about the rest of the game? Like, there's 40 minutes of playtime. Don't just watch the highlights. There's a whole lot of time when they're not playing fast, when they are playing slow, and Nalyssa Smith is really useless. She's good in moments like this, and I really like these plays. I really like these highlights. I think a whole lot of people like the highlights. But at the end of the day, they're not always playing fast, so you're not always going to have these kinds of plays. And when you're not playing fast and you're not having these kinds of plays, I think Nalyssa Smith is useless, which is why I think a lot of people don't like her on the Fever. I think there's a reason for it, and this is kind of the reason. Check out this next play. Once again, Caitlin Clark is getting down low into the paint, but there's extra help guarding her because Nalyssa Smith can't shoot. Nalyssa can't shoot. Her defender is not, she's not going to guard Nalyssa, and Nalyssa Smith is just left wide open, and this is extra defensive attention on Caitlin Clark. If you're going to play an offense where you have a bunch of people spacing the floor, if Chrissy Sykes wants to run an offense like that, your spacers have to be able to shoot, or the defense is going to make a gamble that is in their favor, and they're going to end up winning that gamble 100% of the time because Nalyssa Smith is never going to be a shooter. And if she makes one shot, she's not going to make the second one. And if she makes 2 in a row, she's not going to make the third one. But she's not going to make 2 in a row. She's probably not going to make the first shot. She's not a shooter. They're going to be able to gamble every single time, and they're going to win that gamble every single time. This is not working. We need change. Now check out this next play. Look, Caitlin Clark comes off a screen from Nalyssa Does, and she gets her defender behind her. What should happen should be an easy drive for Caitlin Clark, or if Nalyssa Does' defender helps on Caitlin, then that's an easy kick over to Nalyssa Does' easy 3-point shot. But look what happens. None of that happens because Nalyssa Smith's defender is in the mix. Nalyssa Smith's defender is a third defender in the mix because Nalyssa can't shoot, but she's supposed to be a spacer. She can't shoot. The defense has no incentive to actually guard Nalyssa Smith. What I would have liked to see in this play is maybe Nalyssa Smith cutting, but there's really not space to cut. But, I mean, I see a little lane. She could have cut right there, and maybe the defense from the corner would help, and you would have an open 3 or something. But you can't just be a spacer if you can't shoot. But this is what Nalyssa Smith's role has become. She's useless. And she's really harming the team more than she's helping the team. I keep saying that, but it's really the truth. Check out this next play. It's sloppy defense. I really don't mean to sit here and pick on Nalyssa. If you say you could take a lot of players and just literally follow them for a whole quarter, and you would have a lot to say about them and be picky about. But look, man, it's the truth. She's a terrible defender. What are these T-Rex arms in the paint? She literally does not. She's not intimidating anybody in the paint. She's a sloppy defender. She ends up fouling here. This is literally her on every single defensive possession. She's not a good defender. She's not. She might get a lucky steal here and there. I'll even show a clip of her getting a steal early in the game. But she's not a good defender. She's supposed to be your power forward. You have to be better. As the power forward, you can't be a worse defender than Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark makes up for it on the offense side of the basketball. She can be a bad defender. You're the power forward. You can't. Now, this is the last play I'll show. This is like the cherry on top, just to kind of prove my point. Look, this defender is literally not guarding Nalyssa Smith. Like, she's literally, like, they're not even worried about Nalyssa. Nalyssa ends up shooting the 3-point shot. She bricks it. She's not going to make that shot. Things would change if she started making 3-point shots, but she's not a shooter. I just think they need to replace her with a player who can shoot the ball. If Chrissy Sykes is going to keep on running this offense where Nalyssa Smith is supposed to be a spacer and she's supposed to be a shooter, but she can't shoot, and the defense is making a gamble that they literally win every single time, nothing good's going to come out of it. Look, man, that's the end of this video. I'm done with this video. Yeah, this is like a whole lot of hate. I'm not trying to hate on Nalyssa Smith. I don't dislike her as a person. I've never like paid attention to her or anything like that. So I don't know if I dislike her as a person, but to be honest, man, she's just not a good basketball player on this team. She doesn't fit in, and she harms the team more than she helps the team. Chrissy Sykes leaves her in the game for the entire first quarter with all this bullcrap going on, and they end up being down 7 points at the end of the first quarter. She is a big problem on this team. She's not the only problem on this team. Like, once they get rid of Nalyssa Smith and, say they trade her for another player, like, that's not going to fix all their problems. They're still going to be a losing team. There's a whole lot of reasons why this team is losing, but she's one of the reasons. And so, yeah, I'm not here to hate on Nalyssa Smith and be that kind of guy, but bro, she's pretty much useless on the court in these situations. Other than that, bro, I was going to make some videos on the Olympics, but then a whole lot of you guys told me not to make videos on the Olympics, but I was still probably going to do it a little bit because a few people said they wanted to, and I was, probably going to do it a little bit. But then, like, the opening ceremony for the Olympics, like the opening, I'm not doing any videos anymore. No. It was blasphemous as a Christian. Y'all see my Amen hoodie? Nah. But, yeah, I'm out, bro. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly did. Peace out, man.